Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I am back on my home computer, having had a short break. I've missed you guys, actually. I did a couple of videos while I was away on my laptop, but I've very much got used to making a daily video ever since the first, Mark and I have been making a video a day on the channel since the start of the first COVID lockdown, so you do get used to it. But when I don't have that routine, I miss the puzzles, I miss talking to you all, so I'm rather glad to be back in my seat today, even though I did have a nice break. I have a small tan, I think. The other thing that I've missed, speaking of missing things, I should say, there is a constructor who has not been producing puzzles for us all for the last few months, and I am delighted to tell you that the great Jay Dyer has returned to the Sudoku scene, and she has produced a puzzle called Cave of Killers, which is what I'm planning to have a go at today. I saw this this was released while I was on holiday, and I was like, I've got to do it. I've got to solve it. So literally the first opportunity where I'm sat back at a desk, this is what I'm going to do. I didn't dare do it in my holiday videos because I suspect this will take me a long time. It's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany, but Jay's puzzles tend not to be the easiest things in the world, even though they are some of the most beautiful. And I'm very much looking forward to giving this a go in a moment or two's time. I say I don't have much news for you. That's not quite true. I have lots and lots of birthdays to catch up on. I'm sorry if I missed shouting out your birthday while I was away. I pre-recorded some of the videos for while I was on a break in order to actually have a break. So I have missed birthdays. I am planning on catching them up over the next few videos. So there might be slightly longer birthday announcements than usual. I hope you'll forgive that. Do remember, if you don't want to listen to the birthdays, we do put chapters in the video now, so you can skip forward. Although I recommend not doing that, because I think it's quite nice to hear about what's going on. In terms of the anniversaries of the community in general. Other than the birthdays I'm about to do, let me just check there's nothing else I wanted to mention. We are closing in, slowly but surely, on a milestone for the channel in the form of 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. We have got something really special planned if we do reach that goal, which is basically a pack of 600,000 themed puzzles by some of the great and the good of the Sudoku community. You will know many of these names. So if you aren't subscribed and you do enjoy what we do, please consider subscribing. It is, of course, completely free to subscribe to a YouTube channel. You literally just click the subscribe button, and I think all it really means is that when we do release new videos, YouTube will sort of show those to you in priority, so hopefully not too much of an inconvenience if you do enjoy these puzzles. Other than that, we've got something quite exciting coming up on Patreon at the start of next month, but I'll talk about that in a different video. Let me do some birthday announcements. I'll start off with Toolcat and Malrog, 2 fantastic constructors themselves. Now, I suggest you both watch Mark's video later. I can't possibly tell you why, but I hope the 2 of you have a very good birthday. Next, is it Eleanor? It could be Eleanor, it could be Eleanor. I'm going to go for Eleanor. It's your birthday today. I know this was your boyfriend Alec wrote to us and said you'd appreciate a shout out. So Eleanor, I hope you have a very good day. Misha, you have turned 9 today. I know you're a very bright boy from the Netherlands who is already constructing his own Sudoku puzzles. This is absolutely fantastic. I know this because your dad Jaap wrote to us. I hope I'm pronouncing Jaap correctly. I remember Jaap Stam, the Manchester United defender, so I'm using that pronunciation, hopefully not incorrectly. But Misha, many happy returns. And also today, Sam, you have turned the big 3-0 today. And I know this because your girlfriend Gabby wrote to us. And Sam, I hope you have a brilliant birthday with chocolate cake, of course. Now, the rest of the birthdays I'm late with. Again, apologies. Anna, over there at Yale University. Anna, you turned 21 on the 16th of April. And I know this because your mum and dad wrote to me, and they are so proud of you. And Anna, I hope you had a great day. George, you turned 60 Yesterday, I'm only a day late with this and $1 short, I suppose, over there in Texas. And I know this because your son Ethan wrote to us and told us you'd appreciate a shout out. Jordan, you turned 28 on the 21st of April. I hope you remember your cake. And your boyfriend Shy wrote to us. I hope that was Shay. That could be Shay as well. Oh no, I might have messed up the pronunciation. Anyway, Jordan, many happy returns. Josh, you turned 30 down there in Australia on the 22nd of April. I know this because your partner Jess wrote to us to tell us that she loves you very much as well, by the way. So Josh, many happy returns. And Kenneth, did Mark do your dad's puzzle yesterday? I think he might have done. And that, I hope he said happy birthday to you, because Kenneth, you turned 5 yesterday, unless I'm very much mistaken. And I know this because your dad wrote to us. And I think your dad turns 40 later this week. So I think I might even have a photo. I've got a photo. Yeah, there you go. This is family Kenneth. So that's Kenneth's dad. That's Kenneth, whose birthday it was yesterday, I think. And that's presumably Kenneth's mum. So the Kenneth family, the great and the good of the Sudoku community. I think that was taken in Honolulu. I have been to Honolulu, that reminds me, many years ago. Gosh, I'm just thinking how many years ago that was. That was a long time ago. Very, very cool place. Anyway, I digress. Lindsay, your partner Kevin wrote to tell us that it was your birthday, I think yesterday, and you were quite excited about it being a palindromic birthday. Well, it's only palindromic if you come from certain parts of the world, Lindsay, because, of course, you could write yesterday's date as 4/24/24, which would be a palindrome. But if you're from the UK, you'd write it 24/4/24, and that's not a palindrome. So, I'm disputing the perfectly palindromic nature of yesterday, but I hope it didn't stop you from having a perfectly palindromic cake of chocolate variety, Lindsay. Many happy returns. And then finally, Maya, it was your birthday on the 17th of April down there in Melbourne, Australia, another absolutely wonderful city. I know this because your partner Hazen wrote to us. And I think, Maya, you've got a big university assessment coming up. I don't know whether it's happened already, but I wish you all the very best with it. I think that watching and solving Sudoku puzzles is probably very good practice for whatever it was they were going to make you do. And that's all the birthdays. Let's have a look at Jay Dyer and the return of Jay Dyer, Cave of Killers. This is a hybrid of Cave, which I think used to be, was it called Corral in the US Puzzle Championship? I think it was. And I very much like this. So it's sort of Cave and Killer Sudoku mashed together. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Even though my mouse is better, I'm still capable of misclicking by the looks of it. Then we have to shade some cells so that the unshaded cells form a single orthogonally connected area, and each connected shaded region touches the grid boundary. So, the shaded cells form a single orthogonally connected area. What does orthogonally connected mean? It means that you have to share an edge. So these cells are all orthogonally connected because you can pass from any cell in this sequence to any other cell by moving along green cells that share an edge with other green cells. Now, if we added that one to that sort of cornucopia of greenlinesses, this is not orthogonally connected because it only connects at a point. We can make it orthogonally connected by adding that one in. Now let's say that this was the pattern, and then we've worked out there was sort of a grey area there. Well, let's say there was a grey area there. Then this grey area, this is sometimes called the wall of the cave. The walls of the cave in this puzzle have to get to the edge of the puzzle, so they have to get to the perimeter somehow via orthogonal connection. So again, that's not good enough. If this would have to be something like that, that could work. So that's the initial rule explained. Initial cave rule, I suppose. A circle is always unshaded, and the digit in the circle equals the number of unshaded cells visible in a straight line from that cell, including the cell itself. So let's look at this square. If all of those were green, and then these squares were wall, then this digit would be an 8, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We include the cell itself, I think. Isn't that what that just said? Yeah. Shaded cells obstruct the view. So this is normal cave rules. So that would be an 8 in this situation. Let's get rid of all that. And there's only one more paragraph of rules. Each shaded region contains a corner clue which equals the sum of the digits in that region. Digits may not repeat in a shaded region, and the digit in the clued cell equals the size of the region. So let's make that square a 7. That means that this is part of the cave wall, so it's a grey cell of size 7. Let's make it of size 7. So if this was the layout, then all these squares, I think, would have to be sort of the interior of the cave, the actual sort of air of the cave. The green is the air of the cave, the grey is the wall of the cave. And that's not Maverick, but that's a chainsaw. Maverick's waving chainsaws today, not his aeroplane propeller. Hang on, I've got distracted. What do we do here? We've got... Yeah, so we've got... So this is a 7... Oh, no, so this is wrong, isn't it? This is wrong, because we have to get the cave wall to the edge. So, sorry. Let's correct this. We could do that. Right, that probably is allowed. Each shaded region contains a corner clue. Yeah, okay, which equals the sum of the digits in that region. Right, so what this would be saying is that those 7 cells add up to 37, I think. And we can't repeat a digit. Actually, that's interesting. So if this was the layout, none of these digits could be a 7, because that would repeat the 7 that's already appeared in the region. And that is all of that. They are all of the rules. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And now the first thing I'm going to do here is do some shading. So shade some cells so that the unshaded cells, a circle is unshaded, right? So the circles are, actually I can double click them. The circles are parts of the air of the cave. And the grey cells are going to all coincide with the killer Sudoku clues, aren't they? So we can immediately do this. And, right, hang on, what else do we know here? Yeah, okay, and we can limit the size of cells like this, can't we? Because this clue operates a bit like an X-sums clue, if you're familiar with X-sums rules, in the sense that whatever we put into this cell is the size of the killer Sudoku cage that has to sum to 11. Now that is interesting, because, for example, could this be a 4? And your gut reaction might be, well, yes, of course it can be a 4. You can make 4 different digits add up to 11. Well, you can, but there's only one way that 4 different Sudoku digits add up to 11, and that's if they're 1, 2, 3, and 5. And 4 is not 1, 2, 3, or 5, so actually you can't even put 4 in there. And you definitely can't put 5 in there, because the triangular number for 5 is 15. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So that square is 2 or 3, I'm going to claim. And if it's 2, you have to put 9 in a grey cell in one of those cells. And if it's 3, there've got to be 2 other cells, so we don't know where they would go, that have to add up to 8. Which is... Actually, I've just spotted something quite interesting to do with that cell, but let's not go there straight away. Let's just see if we can do and pick off any other easy wins. That square is 2 or 3. The triangular number for 4 is 10. So if we put 4 in here, the minimum we could make those 4 digits add up to that comprise this piece of cave wall would be 10. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So that's 2 or 3. This clue looks like it wants to avail itself of the secret. Now, the secret is something I only share with my very favourite people. I haven't shared it for a while, but if you are watching this video, you're definitely one of my favourite people. And the secret is that 9 different Sudoku digits, and there are only 9 different Sudoku digits, sum to 45. So no grey clue in this puzzle could have had a clue that's greater than 45 because of the rules which said that we can't repeat a digit in any grey wall section. Actually, are all wall sections given, or could there be wall sections that we haven't, that don't have clues, if you see what I mean? Each shaded region contains a corner clue. Okay, so I think what that's saying is that actually the sum total, there are only 6 pieces of cave wall to find in the puzzle. But anyway, I was getting distracted. What is this clue? 37. So this can't be 5, is what we can deduce from that. Because 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9, if this was only 5 cells large, the most those digits could add up to would be 35. So it's at least 6. If it's 6, it's missing 3 digits that have to add up to 8. Yeah, okay. The balance. Oh, okay. So the balance of the digits missing from the cage are always adding up to 8, and that's really interesting. I know. You do not want to bump into me at parties. This is something I have reminisced about on many occasions. That can't be 8, can it? Because if this was 8, that's saying there are 8 digits in this 37 cage that sum to 37, but the paradox there would be that there would be 1 Sudoku digit missing from that 37 cage, because it would comprise 8 different digits, and the size of the digit that would be missing would be equal to 45 minus 37, which is itself 8. So we can't put an 8 in the cage and simultaneously leave it out as well. That won't work. So this is 6 or 7. Yeah, okay. So I'm sort of quite intrigued by this digit. I'm going to come back here because that square, I'm now going to claim, has to be green. Because if that square is grey, this one has to grow. It's 2 or 3 in size, and wherever it grows to, it's going to connect itself with this cage, which is not what we're being asked to do. So that's got to be green. Right. So okay, so we now need to venture into other secrets, I think. Yeah, okay, because there is something I learned many years ago about cave puzzles, which also crops up in yin-yang puzzles, if you're familiar with those. But it can be important, and I can see how it's going to be important here. And it is this. In any checkerboard, 2x2 checkerboard, or in any 2x2, you cannot have a checkerboard arrangement in this puzzle. So let's try and work out why that's the case. So if we did have a checkerboard like this, the problem is the rule that says that the grey cells have to get to the edge. Because if we actually, we could do this using the pen tool probably. Yeah, because if I just draw a little bit of a grey line in there, I know that this square has to get to the edge of the puzzle. Now I don't care where it gets to the edge of the puzzle. It doesn't matter where it gets to the edge of the puzzle. The point is it will get to the edge of the puzzle. And what does this have to do? Well, that's got to get to the edge of the puzzle. So let's make that go to the edge of the puzzle again. I don't care where. But the point is now, if we look at this square and this square, which we know have to be orthogonally connected because of the rules, how can we make them orthogonally connected? There is effectively a wall of grey that prevents us orthogonally connecting these 2 green cells together. They cannot pass through the wall of grey. Maybe it'd be clearer if I actually make it, if I fill in the grey cells like that, for example. You can see you can't connect this to this because it can't get through the wall of grey. So there are no checkerboards in this puzzle. And why does that matter in terms of what's going on up here? Well, we know this grows, but can it grow here is my question. Because if it grows here, it can't grow to here, so this has to be green. And now I've got a checkerboard. And I know that, well, this bit of it's already got to the edge. It doesn't matter where this gets to the edge. Wherever it gets to the edge, these two can't connect. So that's not going to work, is it? So this square is also green, which means this square is grey. But we don't know, or at least I don't think we know, if this was 2, this would be, well, it'd be really useful. If that's 2, that's 7. So that would be 6. But if this is 3, the other 2 digits would be those 2 digits, and they would add up to 6, and they could be 2, 4, or 1, 5. Right, so let's take a... I still want to come and look at this. This is the one point that I'm actually thinking might be... I've seen something really interesting about this square, but I'm just going to check this one. The other... No, come on, let's concentrate. What's this one? This can't be a 2, because the other digit would have to be an 11. So it's at least 3. If it's 3, the other digits are going to add up to 10. The other 2 digits are going to add up to 10. It could probably be 4. If it's 4, there are 3 more digits that add up to 9 without using 4. Yes, so they could be 1, 3, 5 or 1, 2, 6. And it can't be 5 because the triangle number for 5 is 15. And 15, knowledge bomb, is greater than 13. So that won't work. Right. I suspect there's other stuff we can do here with the green circles, but let me just tell you while I'm thinking about it, about this square, because we've said, and it's true, that the wall cells have to connect to an edge of the puzzle. But that's really, look at these compass point greens that Jay's put in here. They're really weird, because that prevents us sort of making a really efficient attempt to get to the wall or to get to the perimeter. Imagine this wasn't green. Then we could get to the perimeter just by going like that in 5 cells. But we can't do that here in any direction, because on the compass points Jay's put green circles, and that means that to get this to the perimeter is going to take at least 6 cells, because we're going to have to do a wiggle. And if you have to do a wiggle, that's really interesting, because now the minimum size of this, once wiggled, is 6. And the triangular number for 6 is 21. I.e., what is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4? Oh, right, okay. So actually, what I should have just jumped to I forgot that this was going to be the actual size of the thing. That is 6. That is 6. Because it's going to take 6 to get to the edge. And it can't be greater than 6, because the triangular number for anything greater than 6 is much more than 21. So if this did this, for example, we would know that these squares were 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, right. This is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. It doesn't go this way. Right. Yeah, this is classic Jay Dyer, i.e. just take something and blow your mind with it. Because look, this, we know that this takes 6 cells to get to the perimeter, and it's got to do it very efficiently. So it can't touch the perimeter here. That's going to take 7 cells. So it's either touching the perimeter here. Well, not there. That's green. There. Well, in fact, maybe this is where I'm meant to look. Just as something easier down here. It can't touch the perimeter here because it's going to bump into another wall piece. So it cannot go downwards. That must be green. Here. It's not. Yeah, this is really interesting, actually. This is sick. This is sick. It goes west, as they used to advise in America in the olden days. Go west, and that is what this clue needs to do, because it. Yeah. Okay. How could we connect it to this square? This is what's so gorgeous about this. To get to this square, it's either going to take that shape. That's one possibility. Or it's going to take that shape. That's the second possibility. Now ask yourself, what is this digit in either of those situations? Because the point is that this string of digits includes the digit, definitely includes the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6. And whether it's this shape or whether it's this shape, this cell sees the entirety of it. So this square needs to be at least a 7. At least a 7. But it doesn't see enough digits. How many? That's actually 6. I didn't even think it was going to get to 6, but it is 6. And but still, it's not enough. So what this is saying, well, what it's saying is it doesn't go east. That's for sure. And we don't have a checkerboard, so that's got to be green. Now, I think the same point is valid to the north because of this little cell here. So if we can't creep in and touch that square, because to do so we'll have to bypass this in this square, and we'd orthogonally connect two wall sections. So we don't go that way. If we come to this square, again, you can't do it. This cannot reach a 7 total because of these grey squares. So I think what we're being told is we've got to go west. Now the only one... What, right. Okay, so we have to go west, and we know we have to be efficient because we've only got 6 cells to play with. So we know we're going to this square or this square, which means, and because we have to be efficient, every single cell or movement that we make from one cell to another along this region is either going to be to the west, or it's going to be to align us into the correct row that we're finishing in. So for example, if this is the finishing square, we're allowed one northern wiggle. That would also be efficient. We can always get to the boundary, this boundary in 6, that way, or that way. But which way is correct? And the answer, well, I know which way is correct, but the answer's weird because I don't think it's going to tell me what this digit is. Well, it's never this, is it? And it's never that. Because again, this cell in either of those situations sees the entirety of this hexomino and would have to be at least a 7, and this can't be 7 because it's not going to see far enough. And similarly, it can't be that or that. That's even worse because it can't even see this square there. So actually what has to happen, I think, is this and then that. And you can see this is now a 6-cell region. And the reason this is interesting is these squares now 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This square, though, it doesn't see that one, does it? So this doesn't see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sextuplet anymore because it doesn't see that one. So this could be a big digit because it could see all of those green cells. That would be a 7 as a maximum. Or it's just this one. So actually that's hardly restricted at all. That's so peculiar. But, okay, alright, what we can do is, which is very useful. It's very useful. This grey hexomino it's the total size of that grey hexomino. We can't add cells to it. So we can ring this with green. We can't increase its size, and then we've got to avoid a checkerboard. And that's meant that we get a 2 in the corner, not a 3 in the corner. That's become a 6. That 6 has to get out, so it's got to go to there at least. In fact, it's got to go further, hasn't it? It's got to go at least to here. Don't make a checkerboard there. That digit. Oh, hang on. We get 3 here as well. Yeah, we can't go here. If this is grey, now neither of these can extend any further into those squares. Both of those become green and we get checkerboarded. So that doesn't work. So that square is green. Now this is 3, so it's got to escape at least to here. This is now a bit trapped in, so that's got to get out. This is lovely. It's just lovely, isn't it? Right, oh, this digit now, it's not tiny. It's C3. So it's at least 3. And not, hang on, it's at least 3 and it's not 6. So it's 3, 4, 5. Oh no, it can't be 7 anymore. Because of this. Right, well that's very interesting. Okay, so how does this... Yeah, okay. Right. So the thing that I think we should now think about is how do we... What caps the size of this? Why isn't this 7? And the reason it's not 7, the only way that it's prevented from being 7 is if we can put a grey square in at least one of those squares in column 1. Because if there are no grey squares in there, and these are all green, this would be a 7. But it's not actually that easy to put grey squares into column 1. I mean, yeah, here's the question. How do you make that square grey? Because you can't do it with this, and I don't think you can do it with that. You can't. Right. So this is lovely. So, yeah, okay, so this is the cell I want to focus on. Because this 24 clue, we know to get grey into one of these, it must propagate from one of these grey wall cells. Now this is 3 or 4. So it never gets here, it's not long enough. This is a 24 clue, which means it could be a size 6 clue, but it can't be a size 7 clue because the triangle number for 7 is 28, and 28 is more than 24, so this can't be 7, so it can never get there. It can only get 6, and in fact it can't do that either, because it would never have touched a wall. So this is just odd. This square is green, and if that square is green, well, the corollary is that square is definitely green as well. This is a 5, and that square must be grey because this can't be greater than 5. This is just going to look. It's just filling itself in. This is now 4. That must be hived off. Avoid a checkerboard. These 3 squares add up to 9 without being 2, 3, 4. So they're either 1, 2, 6 or 1, 3, 5. Right. So that square is a 2 or a 5, depending on the nature of this triple that adds up to 9. If it's a 2, this is 1, 6. And if it's a 3, it's 1, 5. No, sorry, if it's a 5, it's 1, 3. So there's definitely a 1 in here. This is definitely not a 1. These squares are not 5. This square is not 2, sorry, there's some Sudoku to be done. That square is not 4. never one to focus on the Sudoku if I don't have to. That square's green, because we can't connect these up. What does that mean? What about this square then? That square... It can't be 2 or 3, but it can't sort of be locked in. That green square either goes that way or this way to connect to its friends. So the minimum size of this is 3 to connect to its friends, but it can't be 3. So it's actually at least 4. So it's 4, 5. It's 4 or 5 because it can't be more than 6. It only sees 6 cells maximum, but it can't be 6 by Sudoku. So that's 4 or 5. So if it's 4, can we sort of nonogram this? That has to be green. Because if this square was grey, you can't get to this to size 4, so that's green. Okay, sorry, I'm not quite seeing what to do there. We were on a roll. We were on a roll, and we've come to a stop. So now we have to do more thinking. Okay, here is my thinking. Yeah, okay, how do you get that to be a 5? That doesn't seem possible. I might be wrong. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think that can be 5, because for it to be 5, it would be essential that both of these were green, because otherwise you only get 4 in any one direction. But if you make both of those green, it becomes a 6. It can't ever be a 5. That's so peculiar. So that's a 4, and one of these is green, and one of them is grey. Okay, and this is a 6. So that 6 has to grow. So what's the... No, we don't really know, do we? What about... Oh, bother, I'm getting stuck now. Sorry. Holiday brain. Naughty holiday brain. Come on. What do we do next? Where can we still... I mean, that can't be grey, because if that's grey, I've got a checkerboard, so that has to be green, which means the cell above it has to be green. So this digit 1, 2, 3 is at least a 6 now, so 6, 7, 8 or 9. It already sees 6 green. That digit is at least a 7. Yeah, because it sees 6 green already, and it can't be 6, so that's 7, 8 or 9. Does that mean... Yeah, that does mean that this can be green if that is grey. Here's a nice point. Right, what's that digit? And that digit? And the answer is Sudoku is our friend, Jay. I mean, it is frankly outrageous that in your Sudoku puzzle you're forcing solvers to do Sudoku, but you do seem to have resorted to this sort of nefarious tactic. These two squares both see the whole of that hexomino. That sees all of those. That sees all of those by Sudoku. So these can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So they are 7, 8 or 9. So these squares are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That's not 5. That's not 4. These are very big clues in terms of their sort of how much cave they have to see. Don't know what to do. Have I used the clues as much as I'm supposed to? This clue has to not have... Yeah, I see. Right. Okay. This unfinished cave region is getting to the border here or here. Now actually that's interesting, because whichever one of these is the final resting place of this grey region, 4 will see the entirety of the region. If this was grey, this 4 sees all of those. If this is grey, it sees all of those. So there is no 4 in this 37 count, but we know that we need 6 cells adding to 37, so we need 3 cells adding up to 45 minus 37, or 3 cells adding up to 8 that don't appear in this cage. So they are now, because 4 can't be in it, 1 and 3 must also not be in it. So right, so that's a 3, because 3 can't go in there in box 2. That 3 is pushing a 3 up here, which makes this a 3, which means this is not a 3. One in this row is in one of those 2 squares. Can't put 1 here because this has to be at least 2 now to get out. Four by Sudoku is in one of those, because there's there's a 4 in one of 2 places in box 1. That square. Because this became 5, we have to put 5 in there, so we know that this is 5. There's an easy deduction I didn't see. So 5 is in one of these squares. I'm sort of relieved when there's a deduction like that and it doesn't do anything. I sort of think, oh well, that's not too bad then, because it didn't really push the solve forward an enormous distance. Right, so what do we do now? We've got to put I don't know. I haven't got a clue actually. This square, does that have to be green? I think that square does have to be green, because this region isn't allowed to grow. It's finishing with one of these 2 squares, and it is only of size 6, so that's green. Therefore, that's green to avoid a checkerboard. This is at least a 7. It sees 5 at the moment. Whoa, okay. Maybe I've got to think about this then. So this square here it's not 3. It could be 4. 3, it can't be 3 because the other 2 digits can't add up to 21. 4 would mean the other 3 digits have to add up to 20, which would be probably okay. 4, 5, 6, it can't be 7, the triangle number for 7 is 28, so 4, 5 or 6 for this square. But it's got to get to an edge, hasn't it? Oh, sorry, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing what I meant to see. I mean, what on earth are you meant to do? This has to grow in one direction. But does Harry Styles go there or there? I don't know. This has to grow, but could grow in any number of ways. This does have to grow, because it's not core 8 yet. It's only got 6 cells in it, and it needs to be at least a 7. But it could just grow to there. Yeah, okay, here is a very simple deduction. That square is not grey, because if this square was grey, all of those would be grey, and grey's maximum size is 6, it would have used 5 of its cells and it wouldn't have touched the perimeter, and no extension of one cell in any direction will get it to the perimeter. So that square is green, and that, unfortunately, I mean, it doesn't matter because it doesn't see anything useful. In fact, okay, so maybe that is a way of thinking about this. The only way that this square is not green is if it obviously is if it's grey. But if it's grey, you have to do that. You haven't got this to the perimeter. You're going to need 2 cells to do it, so you have to do that. That's the only. Oh, that does. Ooh, yeah. Okay, that's gorgeous. I'm going to claim that doesn't work. And the reason that doesn't work is this. We've seen this trick before in this sort of puzzle. If this is 6, which is the most it could be, these 2 squares, and it was in this arrangement, which is the only way this can be grey, these 2 are definitely green, and these have the same count and would break Sudoku rules. So the way to think about this is that the count of these 2 squares, because these are connected, and they're both green, they are going to see the same horizontal component of greenliness just by their nature. So they must see a different component vertically. They must have a different count, because if they have the same count, as they both see 1 vertically here, these will have the same count. These would both be 4 in this instance, which is so ludicrous I can't tell you. So actually I can make this green, and that's good, because that makes this 9, which makes these not 9. It makes this square grey, because we can't. If this was green, this would be 10. Oh no, this is still 6. 9. Okay, 9 is in one of those 2 squares, so 9's over here. These have to have different vertical counts. Okay, well, doesn't that mean that? Oh no, no, it doesn't. Right, so it doesn't mean that these have to. That this has to come into this little arrangement, because if this 2 by 2 was completely green, these would have different vertical counts, wouldn't they? So that's fine. So how do I know what this does? I don't know. Is this obvious? Am I just being slow here? I can hear a chorus of viewers from the future going, "You're just being slow. Don't be moronic." I'm trying not to be. There's a 6 in one of those. Is it Sudoku? That digit is over there somewhere, because it has to appear somewhere in row 4, and it can't appear again in its greyliness, so that square is over there somewhere. Golly, I don't know. This is really weird. Is it something to do with... Okay, I mean, there does have to be some... Yeah, okay. I might be wrong about this, but I'm going to claim... I'm actually going to claim that this grey region has to get into column 9. This grey region. Now that might be wrong, but to explain why I'm thinking that, and we'll work out together whether this is nonsense. If it didn't, then even if this got into column 9, this could only get into column 9 here. Which means that if this doesn't get into column 9, this cell sees at least 8 green cells vertically. If this doesn't get into column 9, it might see 9 if this didn't go into column 9, but it must see, because all of these would be green, this square sees 8, which means vertically this square sees 8, this square sees 8. Now one of these could be made 9 by getting a green one there, for example, but the other one would be broken because it would need to be at least a 10 then, and you can't write 10 into a Sudoku cell. So this domino, or this 24 region, does get into column 9 somewhere. Now, where is the question? I don't know, is the answer to that. I mean, where would it be very powerful? If it went in there, that would be powerful, because that would fix this as well. Because if it went in there, we'd have to do that. Yeah, it would get to the perimeter in that case, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one of these to connect up. And that would get to the perimeter here. Okay, that doesn't work. This is not grey. And that is because if this is grey, well, I think this is right. If we do make this grey, this cannot spare any other greyness for those cells. And that square looks to be enormous to me there. So we get green in all of those. And that's the total for this is now 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's 11. We can't do that. That doesn't work. So this is green, which means this is now at least 4. Because it's already seeing 4. This is at least 4 as well. Actually, that's interesting, because this can't be 5 or 6, so that is 4, 7, or 8. It's not 9, because we know 9 is in one of those cells. So this is 4, 7, or 8. And it... Yeah, I think this cell is under more pressure now, because if this, whatever this cell is, it is the minimum that any cell it connects to in column 9 can be. For example, if this square was 8, for the sake of exposition, this square would have to be more than 8, because it can't be less than 8, because this is seeing 8 vertically, because it's not seeing any horizontally. So that would need to be at least a 9, which it can't be. So this square not only can't be 8 or 9, but it's not 6 or 7. So it's a number lower than 6. And it's 4, or it's only 4 or 5 actually. But if that, okay, that can't be 4, because if it's 4, we have to put grey cells there and there, and these would both have the same count. So this is 7 or 8. And this is 4 or 5. So this is not in. This is grey. Oh, that's beautiful. That's just done it. It's just, that's so weird. Isn't this gorgeous, though? That's so peculiar. But look, this square now has to be grey, because otherwise this is seeing 6. And it can't be 6, so this would push this up to at least 8, which we've worked out it can't be. So that has to be grey. That has to be grey. We've got to the edge with this, so this could be a 4 clue. Oh, no, it can't be a 4 clue, because that's going to break this still. So, no, this has got more work to do. But anyway, let's go back to thinking, because this now sees a maximum of 5 vertically, so it must take those 2 squares, at least. And now it's seeing... So now it's at a count of 7, and it's just whether this is in or not, as to whether it's 8 or not. That feels like we should know the answer to that, doesn't it? But I don't know how to tell. Okay, what about that one then? That's a maximum of 4. So it's 2, 3, or 4. It can't be 1, because that would imply it was totally fenced in. Yeah, okay, the thing I wanted to think about was It was this clue. There has to be some interruption, either here or here, otherwise this clue is an 11. Yeah, okay, and this is size 4 at the moment. The only way we can get an interruption into any of these 3 squares is with a direct drop here, making this a 6, but that hives off this screen from the rest of its friends, so we can't do that, so we must be coming in here somehow. And all these have to be green. And now, well, now these are both at least, that one is at least 7 now. Ah, I didn't mean to do that. It's at least 7 because it sees 6. So this is 7, 8 or 9, so it must grow. Might as well take advantage of easy wins. So it is 7 at the moment, but if it takes that square as green, it becomes 9, so it cannot be 8. It's impossible for this to be 8. But this one could be 6. If that is grey. Which it could be. It could be. That is possible. Oh, hang on. Something's got to get in this row as well, otherwise this clue blows up. So one of these is grey or both. And one of these is grey or both. But we can't get to these squares anymore, can we? Or could, well, maybe we could. No, because I need something in this row. If I had that. No, because I need something here. So I could have that and that, or that and that, or those two. But I can't take anything green over here. That will not work. Which means this is a 4. I'm actually going to double check that. I'm sorry. That's such a big deduction that I want to just make sure that's right. So if I wanted to make this grey, for example, I couldn't do it. No, I couldn't, because I need 2 cells, or I have to take that one. To meet the criteria of stopping this having too much verticality and stopping this having too much horizontality, I can take this square. That's the most efficient way of doing both of those things. But then I need one of these to connect it up. The only alternative is I take both of those. So yeah, okay, so those are all green. This is 4. That's 5. That's right. This is good. That's green. That's grey. That's green. What's this then? 1, 2, oh, bobbins. That's 7 or 8 depending upon what's well, depending on how this one grows. 6. This can't grow very much because otherwise it's going to bump into this anyway. So it's either exactly what it is, or it grows 1. So that is only 6 or 7. And if that's 7... yeah, okay. Alright, so now... that is not 7. Because I think that causes a paradox with this clue, because it grows this clue but in a way that makes this clue impossible. Let me show you. If that's 7 and that's 8, what in order for this to be 7, this is green and this is grey. But now this is only 7 big. So you can't make this 7 because it makes this 8 and it puts the grey cell in the wrong place for one of the clues. That's weird, isn't it? So that is 6, which means this is grey. Oh, we still don't know how this grows because it can grow in either direction and be efficient. And we don't know what that is because we don't know whether this is grey or not. It's bizarrely brilliant. How can an hour have gone? How can an hour have gone past? Okay, that's 6, isn't it, now? Because it's this one. Yeah, we knew that before, because I'd worked out that we had to have something here and something here. So if I'd thought about it, I'd have known that I could have written 6 into this square, which is probably going to be useful. What does this have to be? Oh no, that could have 6 in it. That could be a 6 if that's 2. But there is a 6 in one of those squares. Oh, but hang on. I know what that square is. That's... Yeah, I know. I can just... Sorry, that's just been available. That's a 7. So that's a 6. Oh, and I've broken the puzzle. Bobbins, what have I done wrong? Okay. That's a big relief. Another emotion I've not missed is thinking, oh no, I've broken the puzzle. Right, let's come back to this, because it's true to say I do know what that digit is. That is a 7. It's true to say that square is not a 6 because of Sudoku. It's also true to say, therefore, that that is a 6, but that's okay, isn't it? Because I could do with a 2 and a 1 here, and then we're okay. So I was saved there by my... well, thinking about this square and knowing what it was from a greeniness perspective. Right, so let's take stock. We've got... Oh, no, I must know what that is now. Oh, that's 8, isn't it? Yeah, because those two were sort of inexorably linked. So 8 is in one of those squares by Sudoku. This one... no, we don't know. Oh, no, yeah, we do know. Because this is only of size 6. It can never get to there. So that's green, which means this is 9 after all that. So 9 is in one of those 3 squares. Which is going to be very important for the following reason. Brain, think of the reason. Naughty brain. Come on, brain. Brain. Ah. Oh, I don't know. What am I meant to do now then? We could think about... I'd really love to know how this finishes. I don't like the fact I've got 4 white squares unresolved. What? Okay, let's take it back a step or two. What is it? I know that... What do I know? I know that this one is missing 1, 3 and 4, don't I? Yeah, okay, so I do know that this is a 1, 4 pair in the row. So I know that... Well, this can't be 4, because that would be 4 as well. Is it that simple? Hang on. That's right. There's no... Yeah, that's exactly right. It's very straightforward. Yeah, in this row, I know 1 and 4 can't go in the grey region, so they're in this region. But these 2 squares add up to 8. So that's got to be 1, that's got to be 4, that's got to be 7. So now 7 is in one of those 2 squares. Oh. Ah, that's beautiful. Right. Yeah, that is beautiful. Okay, so one thing we know about the grey region, this grey region, which I still don't know where it goes, and I may not know where it goes after this next deduction, but I do know what that is now. Because one digit I do know is in the grey region is 7. Because the only digit missing from it is 1, 3 or 4. Now if that was a 7... Where do I put the 7 in this grey region? Because if that's a 7, none of those can be a 7 by Sudoku, none of these can be a 7 by Sudoku, and if I extend it there, that 7 sees that cell, so that can't be a 7, so you couldn't put 7 into the grey. So that is 8, that's 7. Now this 8 has to grow, So it goes there, which means that's the connector for this region. This is so ridiculously clever. Now, now, I think it might be to do with... Well, yeah, okay, so now I can ask that question the other way round. I've worked out there is a 7 in this region. My brain is very peculiar the way it sees this, because this is a simpler deduction, arguably, than thinking about whether that could be a 7. Where is the 7 in the grey shape? Well, if we make that a 7, there is no 7 in the grey shape, is there? So actually, I think that not only do we know that's a 7, but it's also the grey 7. Now, hang on, what digits? Okay, all we did there was slightly displace a 9 pencil mark. So that becomes green. That's how green gets out. We can label these digits up in a minute, which we should do. Oh, in fact, look, we know what these digits are by Sudoku in the row. They're 2, 8 and 9. Okay, so that's 9. This is a 2, 8 pair. And we should know what this digit is, 5. Oh, this is gorgeous now. So now I get a 5 down here. These squares are 1, 3 and 6 to complete the box. That's not 6. That's not 3. Now we're going to say something. There's a 6 in one of those squares by Sudoku. Can't repeat. Yeah, okay, so where's 6 in box 6? It has to go here. I'm tempted to think about the total for this one, but let's just see if Sudoku is going to be kind to us. I mean, I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. How many 6s have we got? Oh, no, we haven't got all of them. We've got sort of... Yeah, but I can get the 6 in box 4. There's a 6 for us. Seven, is that... Let's think about this 24 clue. So we've got a 6 in it. So these 5 digits add up to 18. So, beautiful, right. So, that is beautiful, actually. Actually, that is doing absolutely massive work. Right, let's look at this. So how are we making these 5 digits add up to 18? One option, which was the first place my brain went, was could they be an 8 with a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple? And the answer is no, for a lovely reason. If these 5 digits were 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4, the 8 would have to be in this domino, wouldn't it? Because it couldn't be here, which would mean these squares are full of 1, 2, 3 and 4. Well, that doesn't work, because that would mean all 5 of those squares were selected from 4 different numbers, and indeed there's meant to be a 5 in here anyway. So that's completely off the cards. Now that means, I think, that we have to use 7 in the total. Because if we didn't use 7, we can't repeat 6 in the total, so we'd be using 5 and lower to make 18 in 5 digits. And we've already said the triangular number for 5 is 15. So we have to use 7, and that means we have to have the other 4 digits adding up to 11. And they have to be 1, 2, 3 and 5. So, but the interesting thing here is, if we know these digits, and we now do, are 1, 2, 3, 5 and 7, but I know these, well, there's a 7 here, so these don't include 7. There's a 5 here, so these don't include 5. So these are now from 1, 2 and 3. There's definitely a 7 in one of those, which is not here, because of this 7, and this can't be a 1 either, or a 3. This can't be a 5 because of this. That one I don't know about. 7 in row row 5 is in the same cells that we've got a 9 pencil marked in. So these have got to be 7, 9. These have got to, well, this digit appears in one of those two squares. And there's a 7 here, so we can do a bit more Sudoku. 7 and 9. Oh, go on. We could do... Oh, I don't know. Can we do anything with that? Maybe not. There's an 8 in one of those squares by Sudoku. There is... don't know. Gosh, I actually don't know. I filled in all the circles. So it's either just normal Sudoku, which is probably what it is, or it's something to do with, I think this digit might be interesting. Yeah, that digit there definitely lives in these squares, and therefore lives in these squares. No, maybe I'm... maybe I'm... Oh, hang on, where's 4 in this box here? Just Sudoku. There's a 4 here. So that's quite good in the middle box. That means this is now 4. No, nearly. There's a 1, 2, 3 triple in column 6 we've now discovered. Oh, I see. Right. Here is a lovely point. Okay, let's go away from purple or pink. Let's look at that digit. Make that purple. Where does that digit go in this box now? Remembering it can't repeat in its region. So this cell here can't go in its column, can't go in its region, is equal to 1, 2 or 3, so it's not equal to 6, 4 or 8. So it goes there, which means that square is not 9 now, which means this is 9. So now I've got a 6, 9 pair in box 3, which means these two squares are 2 and 8. So these two are not 2 anymore. So this has come down. This is 1 or 3. Oh no, and it can be either. Oh no. Okay, so 2 in this box is in one of those two squares. So this square is not 2. Alright. So this square, that is a 1 or a 3, which we know makes an appearance in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 region. And its appearance now must be there by Sudoku. So that is purple, which means purple is... Oh, look at that. That's almost done it. Purple is in one of those squares. So these are from 1, 3 and 8. And if it was there, that square is only 3 or 8. Okay, this is a 1, 3 pair somehow now. Don't know how that's happened, but that means this is a 2. So this is now a 1, 3 pair, which means that's got to be purple. That's got to be purple. It's nearly working. There we might be about to get children's noise. Let me... Oh. Goodness, so that's in one of those squares, look. I might be on the wrong track here. It might not be necessary to do colouring at all. It just seemed like it was working for a moment. I know 5 and 7 are in here. Oh, look, yeah, that's a 1, 3, 8 triple. So I can take 1 and 3 from here and from here. So this becomes... Oh, I see. So this is a 1 or a 3, and that must be the green 1 or 3. Oh, that's not doing anything. in this column, this digit is 5 or 7, so that digit is 5 or 7, but we don't seem to know what it is from the bottom row. I think we're really close to... there's a 2 here. Sorry, I was about to say we're really close to cracking it, but maybe we have cracked it. No. 5. There's a 5 in there, definitely. Golly gosh. Should we try this column? Because we have got this 1, 3 pair. So it's 2, 5 and 8 into these squares. Oh, where's 2 in row 4? It's got to go there. It's the only place left for it. So let's double click our 2s. Can we do any magic with them? Maybe not, actually. This is a 6, 9 pair. Yeah, let's have a look. It looks like we've got 1, 3, 2 and 7 to place. So that square is 3 or 7 only. Bother. I don't think that does it. Okay, I've got a 1, 3, 6 triple in this column, along with 9. No, here's the easy way to do it. Look, I've got 2 pink digits there. So there's got to be a pink digit in one of these 3 squares. Well, this pink must be 1 therefore, mustn't it? Because 3 doesn't appear. So this is pink. And if that's pink, that is not pink. This is pink. And that means, because pink, well, let's just do it. Pink is 1 wherever we see it. So we can paste 1s into all of those squares, which means I can paste 3 into all the green squares they can go in, which means this is 6, this is 6, this is 9. This might do it. That's a 1 by Sudoku. That's a 5. Is that going to keep going, or is it just going to die? This is a naked single, I think. It's 2, 3 or 7, but it sees 7 and 3 in the row, so that's 2, that's 7, that's 5, that's 2. That's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. What a puzzle this is. 5, 8, 9 into these squares. Nearly. But we should get that digit then. That's 7. That's not 9, so this is 5 or 8. It's not 5, look, so that's 8, that's 5. Oh, welcome back, Jay Dyer. You have been missed greatly. Just absolutely world-class ideas, execution. 7 goes here, that's 4. That's 2, that's 5. This is 8. Oh, this is 8 or 9. It could be either. Right, let's look at those squares, which are 4, 8 and 9. Oops, 4, 8, 9. That's definitely not 9. That's definitely not 4. So there's an 8, 9 pair that's emerged somehow. This is a 3. We've got 5. This is a 5. This is an 8 or a 9. Oh, I see. And look, this region, we've got a 1 in it, so we can we mustn't repeat a digit. So that's going to sort of flow through the puzzle now. 9, 8, 9, 8. That's now 4. That's 8. That's that's a 9. I've done a bit of a ricket with my colouring. All the 3s are meant to be green. All the 1s are meant to be... No, it won't do it. All the 1s are meant to be purple. Now, is it correct? Yes. How many people have solved it? 73 people in 73 days, all but. So, one person... I thought this was a new puzzle. I'm sure this only popped up the other day. So maybe it's an older... I don't know. I've never done it before. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Cave of Killers. The return of, just one of the great minds of the puzzle world. And Jay, thank you again. Every time I do one of your puzzles, you give me an immense amount of joy, as well as sort of a fair amount of head-scratching bafflement as how you can construct things that are just this beautiful. Loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.